Hello everyone, how are you doing? Today I am filming by myself the very third episode of the Letters to Strangers plus Turkey podcast. Welcome, I hope you are doing well. So, today I would like to talk about belonging. Last year in August, I went to do a yearly program with AFS to Belgium, Flanders for an exchange year. It was sure to say I was really, really excited. At that time, I had a few problems going out with me. I was very sad about, some of my relations. I was also going through an eating disorder. I was actually going through a recovery from the eating disorder, but yeah, it was a very hard time for me in Turkey, to say the least. So, on 22nd of August, I went to Belgium all by myself, with my whole life in 2 suitcases and nothing else, and a dream. I went to Belgium, and the moment I landed, I knew that this place was gonna really help me go through a lot of stuff that I had going on with my life. First thing first, I met lots of people even when I just landed in the airport. All of these people were strangers to me, but later they would become my family, actually. My first few days, weeks, or months went really well. I was, really, really happy to be experiencing something new since, 16 years of my life. I don't know, I just really liked the feeling of difference and, not going through monotony every day. Being with a totally different family, even though I love my family, a change of environments, new people, new places, and just exploring a brand new city I've never ever been to was very exciting for me, to say the least. These things really brought a lot of dopamine into me, and I was so happy, so happy. I can't even explain. I was the happiest I'd been in 4 or 5 years, ever since I got into high school, I'd say. Also 8th grade and 7th grade, but actually since 6th grade, this was the happiest I've been. So quickly enough, because since all of these changes were really rocketing my dopamine and serotonin and all these happy hormones, quickly enough, I was very fast to recover from my eating disorder, well, at least physically. I gained a lot of weight, but, and I was no longer underweight, which was really good for me, and honestly, I just stopped really caring about how my body looked and how much I weighed, because I realized that there are more important things to life, new people and new environments, just like I said. Through the months, I even did a lot of things that I liked. I learned Dutch from scratch. I really was good in my classes, which was crazy, because all the classes I was doing was in Dutch. And I kept doing volunteering at schools. I kept making music, because my host mom had given me a piano. And I built friendships that felt rooted and real. And I don't know, I made connections that I guess I now look back and realize that I wouldn't, before going there, none of my connections felt this big. I don't know. I guess, maybe because we were just all alone there with my friends. Well, they were mostly exchange students, but, probably because we were all alone there without our families and without our friends, it was really easier for us to connect. So, obviously, these friends and these connections and these places, just like I said, I began to recover at least from a 3-year lasting illness, which was fun. And after a while, I realized that people around me were growing homesick, They were missing their families, they were missing their houses, their homes, their beds. I was feeling something different. I felt something unfamiliar and kind of overwhelming. I was finally feeling belonging. For the first time, as long as I could remember, I belonged somewhere, I felt. And I was happy. Not fleetingly, but deeply, and unmistakably so. I felt that I finally had a place in a community. I finally was feeling at home, I would say. Or thuis, as they say in Dutch. But obviously, as every good thing ends, everything collapsed at some point. So one afternoon, while I was doing volunteering, helping kindergartners print their coats, my host mother came into the room and she asked for me. I went to her and she told me that I would be sent back to my home country in about 22 hours. This moment for me was, I don't know, like, it was the saddest, it was the most excruciating, most brutal sentence that I've ever heard in my life. Like, I fell to my knees and I started crying, I swear. Like, what I felt was Belgium was my school, my community, my life, my purpose. Like, it was the place that I had finally felt belonging in. It was a place that I had recovered from a lot of ongoing mental problems, not illnesses, that I had. And Turkey was the place I had lived for 16 years without ever feeling rooted. Turkey was the place that gave me these problems. But I had no choice. My host parents no longer wished to host me, and I had to leave the life I had built behind. Returning was hard. It was difficult. It was devastating, to say the least. The depression kind of rushed back, and heavier and more persistent, because I was returning somewhere super quickly, super rapidly, and I had, like, no warning. I had to seriously, like, leave my whole life behind in 22 hours and fly back to my country. As I'm recording this episode, actually, I'm still pretty much struggling a lot, because at school, when you haven't, like, been really close friends with, like, when you haven't talked to your friends, I guess, as close as you used to, for 4 or 5 months, it's hard to just, come back to this life. It's hard to fit back in, because you haven't experienced this, and you've obviously, like, I was hoping to be in Belgium for July, because that's what I had been promised, but I guess it was not meant to be. A quick side note, though, the reason I was sent back was a mix of two reasons. One was that my host parents no longer wished to host me, and the second is actually connected to this. It was the fact that I had a past of an eating disorder, and yeah, so my host parents were basically scared that I would return with an eating disorder. What a beautiful way to support a 16, 17-year-old girl. Yeah, that I had left behind just came back and really put me into a very bad place. This just felt very, I don't know, I felt very bad about this, because I'd worked really, really, really hard to grow out of it and, like, recover. But there it was, like, and what was really making me sad was the fact that it's still making me sad. The fact that your mental problems should not be, like, a reason to treat you like a felon. Because these people were treating me like a felon. I was basically deported. Like, I wasn't deported, but, like, the way they were acting towards me, the way the AFS program was acting towards me. It was hard, man. Like, I don't know. It just sucked that it was like, basically, like, I committed a crime that they were sending me back, because they made no explanation. I was just sent back. And people, by the way, people usually just get sent back from these kind of programs because they get, like, alcohol poisoning or something. They, like, I don't know. It's because they do, like, stuff. I didn't do anything, and I was sent back. But anyway, enough of this banter about my program. Let's continue back with the message of this episode. So, when I returned, I'd say something fundamental had changed in my life. Belgium really showed me who I could be when I trusted myself. Someone independent, capable, and connected to others, I'd say. But even in my lowest moments, I remembered why I'd fought so hard to heal. Not only to survive, but to be useful, contribute, and to lead with empathy to the world. So what I did, I chose not to give up. I continued all the stuff that I'm doing. I'm still continuing. And I guess, like, what I carried back from Belgium is not just resilience, it's direction. It's leadership I learned. It's independence, just like I said. And I guess one note is that home and belonging it's no longer a place for me. It's the version of myself I discovered and chose to protect. Someone who turns struggle into action, and, like, pain into purpose, and belonging into something that can be built anywhere. Wherever I go next, I will continue doing the work I began. I will create spaces where others feel seen, supported, and empowered to keep going. That's what I'm trying to do with this episode, actually. This whole organization, because there are so many people in the world who want to feel seen, want to feel heard, but don't. And that's, I guess, like, one of the biggest things I've experienced during this whole being sent back journey, because nobody listened to me. And nobody cared what I was going to go through when I come back. And I know I'm not the only one who experiences this. And, yeah. I guess final note is this. I think it's useless, to search for a single place to anchor myself. Home is not a location for me anymore. It's the moment when I'm allowed to go without shrinking myself to it. It's a time where I feel different, where I feel the difference. Sometimes it exists in the people I get to meet, sometimes in transition, sometimes only within me. And being and feeling this not belonging is no longer something I fear, I guess. It's verification that I'm moving ahead, I'm growing, and I'm becoming. There is actually a very nice song I would like to recommend everyone for this episode, and I think it's quite fitting. It is called Deslocado. It's by Napa. It's a Portuguese band. I feel like everyone has already know this song because I think it's super popular on TikTok, but yeah, I think it would be a very nice, it has very nice lyrics. So, yeah. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode. I will hopefully continue to keep making these episodes and with more people too, because I've met so many people, so many interesting people, and I would really like to also give them the spotlight. So yeah, thank you so much for listening. I hope I made some sense, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.